Okay, I'm Larry Barber, signalman 3rd class. Served on the USS ORLECK 886 from 1964 to 1968. I'm from Waco, Texas. My duties were communications between land and ships, basically behind the aircraft carriers and the other destroyers in that fleet. Flag and semaphore, all part of my duties. Signalman school, I went to signalman school for 6 weeks in Yokosuka, Japan. I went to Russian Morse Code School in San Diego, California in 1960, I want to say 7 maybe, no, maybe 65. Came out 2nd class in that. Engaged one Russian destroyer and was able to communicate with it. To find its designation. Other than that, Vietnam fired lots of shells. I was discharged in February of 1964 to a good, gallant old ship. She was fantastic.
And who's this lady with you?
This is my wife, Linda, going on 40 years of marriage. We have one daughter, Brandy, three grandsons. She has a daughter previous and 2 grandsons and great-grandchildren, at our age. We're blessed to have wonderful kids.
Well, welcome to the USS ORLECK, and we're really glad to have you.
Well, thank you so much, Ron. We do appreciate it. Okay. Thank you very much. I remember this.
You remember this compartment?
Yeah. He sat right here.
Well, what compartment is this?
This is the sea cabin, the captain's sea cabin. He was sitting right here when I came in, and I reported, Barber SM3, He said, well, young man, you haven't been writing to your mother. I have a letter here, and he said, this is totally unacceptable. He said, I need you to write a letter. I said, okay, I'll go down and write a letter, sir. He said, no, you're going to write one right now. And I said, well, okay. So I wrote a letter, and I said, well, I'll mail it. And he said, no, I'll mail it. Make sure that you, from now on, from this date, that you send a letter at least once a month to your mother. Because the next time we have this conversation, there will be disciplinary action. I said, yes, sir. I said, is that all, sir? He said, for right now. And I saluted and I politely left.
What was his name?
Commander Zingler. A very, very good man. Very cold blue eyes. When he stared at you, it looked like he was going through you or penetrating you. But he was a fair man. He was real fair. But yeah, it was Commander Zingler. Yeah, I'll never forget him. I never forgot to ride home either. But yeah, he made me right here. I wrote the letter right here, right there. And he sat there and said, "I'll take that." I said, "Okay." Yeah, he was a good man. I liked him. But I was nervous when I came in here. I couldn't remember, what was all involved because I was so nervous. Thought I was really, really in trouble. Something that I'd done. Because I'd never had to go to the, other than, hand him a message and he'd write it and sign it or reply and I'd take care from there. But when he personally called me in, I said, oh man, I'm in trouble. But it was, I didn't write home. That's what it was. But I finally get to see it in a better light than I had before. I love it. It's a grand old ship. Yes.
What is this?
This is the engine telegraph. This is the hounds. The gyro. Oh yeah, I remember this. Right there's your lift indicator. Right there was the captain's chair, the exec's chair, quartermaster. Boatswain stood back here. Quartermaster was over there. We had your watch was out there, your port watch, engine telegraph, helmsman, starboard watch. And the officer's deck stood there, and the ensign of the deck stood there. Yeah, right here. Used to be where general quarters, all hands man your battle station. Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, I remember it. They plotted. Yeah. CIC's back there.
Correct.
That was where I stood my combat. I was an IC talker back there for aircraft in Vietnam. The spotter would call in coordinates. I would write them down, and we kept track of the spotter wherever he went. You know, we got longitude, latitude, and all that. And plus, every now and then we could hear the Marines talking out there. 1181 is 1182. It was beautiful. You know, you could hear everything right here. This was, I thought, was the safest place on the ship, right here. Because we had to abandon, we just run and jump off there, or that way, whichever was the best way. I thought this was the safest place. And anytime you get into a situation, I never wanted to be downstairs, down below decks, because you got all these people trying to get out of there, and you're going to be trampled to death. I figured the best place, anything happened, would be up here, you know. So you can abandon if you had to, you know. But this old girl right here, she rode many of bad weather days, and she was awesome. She came through for her. Beautiful. Loved her.
All right, where do you want to start?
It doesn't matter. This is where I was at general quarters. This is where I plotted from the spotter to here. We kept track of the spotter, which was in a little twin-engine plane. We kept track of him. All the coordinates and everything came over here. This is the plotting area. All the coordinates for the guns and all the things that we needed to plot was in that area. I kept, where I was at during general quarters was right here. There's one of the boxes. See, yeah. So you got all your different places, you know, signal bridge, IC room, yeah. I go like this. Give a Roger. I never had to say a word. I just go Roger, or give him a king. Yeah. This is what I was trying when the captain or anybody wants you. All these different ones up here, he just punches in and he'll call you. Come to my sea cabin, or come to the bridge or something. It's all. And then this phone is the one I talked to privately to the spotter. This was direct communications with the spotter, and I would plot right here off of this. These guys here were all third class. You know, you had to be third class and above to be in here. No, they didn't have very many seamen or seaman apprentices in this area. You had to be second class, third class, most time chiefs, petty officers, and officers. This was the heartbeat of the ship. This is it. This is where everything went around. All your combat, all your fire missions, is right here. All your contacts, sonar, right here. This was the heartbeat of the ship. This is what kept us alive and kept us floating, right here. I loved it in here because during general quarters, this was all air conditioned, and I thought this was this would be a pretty safe place. You know, if we got any kind of air strikes or anything, you know, coming from the beach toward us, I figured this would be better suited for me than up there with the life jacket on. So I did enjoy this area quite a bit. I felt safe and I felt good. I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed it. I love this old girl. A lot of old memories here. A lot of old memories.
He's been wanting to come back here so bad, and each time.
Yeah, because the last time I was here, we weren't allowed up here. We weren't allowed but to the outer perimeter, starboard, port side, fantail, and I think the gun mount is the only thing we were allowed to. You could cross midships to one side or the other, but they wouldn't let you go below.
When was that?
When we were in Orange, when she first got back from overseas, from Turkey. I forgot what year it was, but
90.
When she first got back is when we came to see her, you know, and you know that she'd been over there in Turkey for so long that they hadn't done anything to her or anything, and she was a mess. She was really, you know, hard to look at, You know, it tore a lot of our hearts out of us to see her like that, because we kept this girl clean, polished. Everything was bright, shiny, disinfected. I mean, you could eat off these decks. I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to sit down and eat. I mean, that's how clean it was. It was immaculate. And for you to come back and see how she was brought back was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. You know, when somebody takes care of you like we did, and she took care of us, it was heartfelt to see her like that, you know. It was bad. I said, well, I've seen enough, you know, until she gets better. I'll come back when she gets better. Yeah. But it's a great ship, Ron. Couldn't ask for better. You know, I often thought about being on an aircraft carrier. You know, all the room in the world, you know, she floats so easy. But this little girl here, she took care of us. She took care of all of her people.